Do you believe you have control over your life? Control over your actions, your words, your thoughts, your behaviors? Maybe you've questioned if you're in control even of your success. Do you believe you have control over your life, over your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors, your actions? Do you feel like you've got control over your success, even? No judgment, whatever is coming up for you. Because honestly, I really struggled with control for a long time. And yesterday I was reflecting on my own journey and I was called to really dive deep. And in that deep space, I met my control. That's right, I met my control. And when I met my control, I was really confronted with the lingering trauma that I had associated with my need for control and all of the belief patterns that I had around this concept of control. My control had interwoven experiences of fear, a sense of abandonment, and that part of control, I didn't realize how all of the experiences I'd had in my life, that fear, that abandonment, that resistance that I was having to control, how it had really creeped into different areas. You see, to be honest, I used to hate control. I grew up in a multi-generational military household, and I felt for a long time of my life like I didn't have control. I didn't have control over what I wanted to do, over what I wanted to say, how I could dress, where I could go. Even my thoughts and beliefs were constantly in question for the sake of the unit. And that was kind of my belief of how control was. So as the years went by, as I grew up and I grew older, I found myself at this crossroads and I was grappling with control, unsure of how to navigate it. Sometimes I'd resist it, really resist it, especially when others tried to exert their control over me. And it led to me being extremely reactive, having explosive anger. And then I would slip into the overbearing mode of control because I was like, nah, not today. That was my childhood. It is not going to be my present, and it will definitely not be my future. But what ended up happening in that overbearing space of control is that it led me down paths of perfectionism, excessive micromanagement, hard, rigid boundaries, and honestly, an unquenchable thirst to be approved, to prove myself to other people, to prove that I couldn't be tamed, that I was in charge of my life. But that incessant need for control, it backfired because as much as I could control the things around me, the one thing that I couldn't really control were the thoughts inside of my mind. I didn't think I could control the thoughts inside of my mind. I couldn't control my emotions. And it really led to this emotional dysregulation. I ended up really struggling with that micromanagement, perfectionism, excessive need for control, yet the lack of control that I had in my inner thoughts. And so finally, I just kind of gave into the belief that, maybe everybody was right. Maybe everyone does know better. Maybe I'm not meant to be in control of my life. And so I slowly started giving away my control. What do you think I should do? Well, what do you want? I slowly started giving away my control and my power. And then someone entered into my life who took control of everything. And again, I acknowledge that I gave them my control. In that relationship, I slowly started to lose my sense of self even more. I slid into the role of victim, really feeling that everything in my life had been happening to me. Like I didn't have a choice in it, that I never was meant to have a choice. That journey was marked with shame, guilt, bruises, and defeat. And the thing is, though, deep within the ashes of that defeat, a fire was reignited. That inner fire for choice and control came back in that relationship. And I knew it was my time to reclaim them. And day by day, week by week, I figured out how to pull myself out of the ashes and rise like a phoenix. But I did. I learned how to rise and how to truly heal the wounds of my past so I can embrace a true free future, how to control the thoughts that were inside of my mind. But yesterday, when I met control, I had a new level of revelation. What I realized was the trauma from my connection to control, it still lingered and it's showing up. It was showing up in different aspects of my life. What I learned in meeting my control was that control wasn't about being told what to do or facing judgment. Control was about the freedom to choose, to shout with pride from the rooftops and with confidence, I have control over my life. I have control over my thoughts. And to also realize that if I don't have control, then I could seize control and learn what I needed to learn so that I could step into my choice, into my freedom, which are two aspects of control that seem so disconnected for me up until yesterday when I really opened up myself to the deeper wisdom of control and acknowledged the trauma that I had around it. You see, control also meant, it also means embracing loving boundaries. It means choice. It means freedoms. It means structures. And despite my initial resistance, I've really learned to acknowledge that, to see control for what it is, the beautiful gift of a garden that it can lead and facilitate and support. I used to fear boundaries and structures. I felt like it would stifle my creativity. It would disrupt my flow. Again, my idea of control and of boundaries. Drop a yes in the chat if you were like, I don't like structures and planning because I feel like it's going to disrupt my flow or it's going to be boring. But truth be told, yesterday I realized that decades of trauma were still intertwined into my perception of control and the unique energy that it held within me. I confronted my control head on, and control, when I showed up, was not happy with me, but I get it. I mean, control had felt abandoned. It had felt distrusted, misunderstood for so long that when I met it, it was scary, and it was overwhelmed and it was extremely reactive. And it just seemed to have this attitude of, you've been neglecting me, projecting onto me, and judging me for so long. If you think I'm bad and scary, then I'll be bad and scary. And I was really able to sit in that, take accountability to what I've done, to really look at how I've been treating my power, how I've been treating my control, my choice, my freedom, my boundaries and structure. Meeting my control was transformative. I didn't fully grasp that it had been carrying the weight, the distortion of past traumas, the pain from my fear of it, the sorrow from giving it away, the reality of abandoning it. And so I questioned it. I said, hey, control, thank you for all of this wisdom. And what do you want from me? What can I do to make you feel safer? How can I show you more love, support, and really start to rebuild this internal connection that I have to my freedom of control? And let me tell you, my control had answers. It told me that it just reminded me that I had control and to lean into control, not in terms of wanting to micromanage and hold on to everything, but to exercise my freedom, to exercise my choice, to step into accountability, to start creating boundaries and structures so that way the garden, the seeds that I'm planting can really grow in a safe space and thrive. It reminded me that I have control over my life, that I have control over my thoughts, that I am in control of my success. Control isn't solely the concept that I grew up with or the concept that I gave away. Control is about choice, freedom, boundaries, and structures, all of which I can shape to fit within my journey. I know that control can be sensitive for many of us. Again, we live in a pretty distorted view of the world that we live in around control. And wherever you are in your journey, just know that you're not alone and it's not your fault. Friday, August 25th, from 11 to 2, I'm doing a 3-hour inner healing experience from trauma to triumph. What we're going to be doing during this time is really embracing the freedoms of our choice. So that way we can really embrace freedom beyond our past. We can start to look, where in our life are we really holding on to maybe some past experiences that we have maybe worked on, but we haven't fully accepted or learned how to transmute, alchemize, and really move through. So we can really move from trauma to triumph. If you want more support around that, there's a link under this video so you can join me. And if you're like, God, can't see a link, just type in the words "I'm in" and I'll send you the details. I'm Des Caminos, and I'm an embodiment coach and somatic practitioner and the owner of the Interconnected Self. Fun fact, I hold 2 degrees and far too many certifications, and I have the lived experience, which is why this is so important and powerful to me. I'm here to be a part of the movement, the revolution that is empowering women to feel safe in their own mind and to take back their control and their choice so they can truly live a life of clarity, of freedom, and of fulfillment. I hope to see you August 25th. And if you're seeing this in the future and August 25th has passed, write me a DM. I'd love to connect and support you in whatever capacity I can be. Just know I'm here to be a resource for others, a resource I wish I had had in my journey of healing, expansion. I'm Des Caminos, everybody. Awkward time when I get off live.